Welcome to the Hoof and Fang podcast. I'm Kirt Graves.
And I'm Maz Maddox.
How's your week going?
It's going.
How's your week going?
Are you Mario?
I am. I'm Mario.
I wish my week was that exciting as a Mario game, but it's not. It's kind of just the same humdrum kind of thing. But next week is Alex's birthday week, and we're going out of town.
Ooh.
And so I'm like, I just can't wait for next week. I get to leave work early. I get to go somewhere I've never been to before. And I'm jazzed.
Yay. Is it a secret where you're going?
Well, I don't think he listens to the podcast very often.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll be spoiled.
Just in case. But yes, it's a secret to him.
It's a secret to him.
Okay.
So it'll be a surprise. But I planned it. I know he's going to love it. Found a dumb bed and breakfast we're going to stay at, and I'm jazzed about it. So I'm like, I can't wait.
I have guesses.
Yeah. Well, we can confer afterwards. But yeah, I'm pretty jazzed about it. So this week I'm just trying to get through, go through the motions so I can just get to Friday of next week.
Does it rhyme with mouse on the block?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Very good guess.
Well,
I mean, it's not
context,
right.
Knowing you, what you would think is really cool.
Right.
Knowing you hate to fly, so it's driving distance.
Yeah.
And then stupid B&B. I was like, oh.
Yep, for sure. You nailed it. So, yeah. But that's what I'm looking forward to. How about your week? How's your week?
My week is a sucking. No, the weather here has been crazy. Mm-hmm. We have had 20s to 60s to 40s to 30s to it just keeps bouncing, and I think it has just wreaked havoc on my sinuses. Mm-hmm. So I am trying very hard not to sound or act gross, but it is just sitting in the back of my sinus cavity, and it's starting to I got the post-nasal drip now that it's starting to make me cough and sore throat, and I'm like, great.
Yay.
We love this. Thank you.
Favorite time of the year.
Thank you, changing of the seasons, which is happening months early.
Yeah.
And we'll probably go back to winter, and I'll have to do this again in May.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, every time I keep getting lured into a false sense of security because I'm like, okay, cool. It's about to warm up, sunshine, flowers. No. Give it 2 weeks. It's going to be another blizzard or something. But I'm like, come on, just commit,
Shit will still go down.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but it is just... It's just the barometer just keeps changing.
Yeah.
It's my body is stop.
Pick one.
Enough.
Yeah, just either it's springtime or we're going back into winter. Choose, please.
Right.
This in-between's killing me.
It reminds me of when I went to school in Ohio and experienced spring allergies there. Mm-hmm. And then at the end of the semester, I came home to Wisconsin and did it again.
Oh, God.
Because they're just Ohio's just far enough south that spring happened in April. And then I would go back in May, and Wisconsin's and here's some more allergens.
Yeah,
and I was
oh God.
Awesome. Great. We love that.
Mm-hmm. Sounds like a good time.
We love that for all of us.
Yeah,
so much fun. Oh, all right. So we had a giant ass sale last week.
We did.
And it seemed to go quite well.
Yeah.
We heard from a lot of people who bought books, so many that we extended it an extra day because we were worried people had missed it. Mm-hmm. And thank you to everybody who bought books, who gifted books. Mm-hmm. Welcome to any newcomers to the podcast if you found us through that sale.
Yeah.
We so appreciate your patronage.
Yes. It's been a good week.
Yeah, and we hope you check out all the other stuff we do as well. Mm-hmm. And so that was our first 6 audiobooks.
Yeah.
All went on sale for $3. Mm-hmm. And then our next audiobook will happen in March. Mm-hmm. It is the 3rd book in the Flesh and Bone series, Shift, by Joel Abernathy, and that will come out on March 29th.
Yeah.
So if you're unfamiliar with how our system works, if you didn't snag last month's book in the sale, you need to join our Patreon within 10 days of that book going on sale. Mm-hmm. And then you get last month's book and the following month's book.
Yeah.
That's the best deal.
Yeah, that's the perfect time to jump in. It's because you get basically 2 books for 1 month. So it's awesome. So
I'm going to do something that I probably shouldn't and be if you're thinking about joining, wait until March 29th or after March 29th. Just a little bit. Yeah. And then you'll get Shift and whatever comes next. Mm-hmm. So, all right.
So on Monday, we allowed our patrons to ask us some questions. We did a little closed Ask Us Anything form, and a lot of people submitted a lot of really cool questions. So we picked just a couple because otherwise we'd sit here all day just answering amazing questions. So I picked just a smattering from a couple different people, and they kind of run the gambit. So I'm pretty excited. So our first question is actually two questions. Melissa asks, what audiobook would you recommend for someone who has never tried audiobooks?
Hey girl, hey. Hi, Melissa.
Yeah, hi Melissa.
Hi, my friend Melissa. Because nobody else spells their name that way. So I know it's definitely her. Hey girl. This is not going to surprise her or anyone else who knows me. If you've literally never listened to an audiobook before, I say start with a celebrity memoir because it's somebody you're probably already familiar with.
Right.
It sort of has that like tabloidy quality of like, oh, I'm finding out about a famous person.
Yeah.
And many celebrity memoirs are narrated by the celebrity, and none is better than Bossy Pants by Tina Fey.
That was going to be my pick too. And like you introduced me to it because we went on a road trip and you told me that like that's the thing you listen to on road trips. So if you're traveling with somebody, and it was fantastic. It was so good. And like, I like Tina Fey, but I didn't really care about her life. And then all of a sudden I so cared about her life. Right. It's so interesting. But yeah, same.
It's really the perfect combination because she isn't a television actress. That's how a lot of people know her, but she's a writer.
Yeah.
She's a comedian and a writer.
Right.
And so she wrote this beautiful book with a beautiful series of essays that are funny and heartwarming and relatable. As with all things that came out over 10 years ago, I'm sure there's parts of it now that are problematic.
Probably.
Let's just assume that's the case.
Yeah. It's a good warning.
And then she's good at reading it.
Yeah.
And a decent chunk of the book is devoted to her time playing Sarah Palin on SNL.
Yeah.
And like the great thing about an audio format is they can actually play the skit via audio.
Yeah.
Which is something you don't get in the book, but you get in the audiobook. So it's just a really great, and it's like 6 hours.
Right.
So it's not a huge time suck.
Right.
It's easy breezy. It's great for a road trip. If you've literally never listened to any kind of audiobook before, I think that's a great place to start because it will hold your attention. It's very entertaining. It's very well done.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And then I say dip your toe into fiction.
Yeah. I think that's a good, like, if you've never ever experienced it, that's a great, like, beginner audiobook. And then after that, I mean, the doors are wide open. Like, there's tons to pick from. I think the only, like, if you're going into fiction and you want something dramatic and fun, and you're going to hate this because you don't get royalties for it anymore, but Wolfsong.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But yeah, that one, I think that's the first audiobook that ever changed my enjoyment of a book. Because I'd read Wolfsong before, and then I listened to the audiobook and cried my eyes out. And like, I didn't cry when I read the book. Totally different experience when you're listening to it. So if you haven't listened to it, highly recommend that. Do Bossy Pants and then make yourself cry with Wolfsong. That's what I recommend.
Yeah. Great. I'll take that.
Yeah. The second part of her question was, what is the best fast food French fry?
Oh boy. This is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, they sprinkle those McDonald's French fries with cocaine, right?
Oh yeah.
Like they must.
Yeah. I mean, it's cocaine and salt and just fried. I mean, I'd probably pick McDonald's.
Yeah.
I mean,
fast food specifically.
Yes, fast food specifically.
Yeah, it cannot be beat.
Yeah.
It really can't.
They've got it down.
And many others have tried. Like the Burger Kings, the Wendy's, they keep changing their recipes. Like, we're gonna do better. And it's like, no, it's just McDonald's.
Have we talked about Arby's curly fries? Do you not like them?
Okay, no, I do, but like I would not classify a curly fry as a French fry. That's its own special thing.
That's fair.
It'd be like saying a sweet potato fry is a French fry. It's like, no, it's its own thing.
Right, okay. Because I thought I remember us talking about this before, and I think that's where we landed. They're not in the same...
Right.
Different. They're
cousins. Also very good.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. So yeah.
I would never get regular French fries from Arby's.
Who does that?
Why?
That shouldn't even be an option.
Is there
You're
a reason
just wasting
to go to Arby's
time
besides the curly fries? I don't know.
No, agreed. The next one comes from Duncan, and he asks, Kirt,
Hey, Duncan.
Hi, Duncan. Kirt, when recording a book, how long does the full process take? Say if it's an 8-hour book, can you expect to spend another 48 hours editing, or what's the process?
So this is always such a complicated question to answer because it really does depend on the book. In a world where I am hired by a production house or a publisher, I do a lot less work because I'm just the narrator. So that is its own thing.
Okay.
If I am fully producing the book by myself independently, conventional wisdom is that it takes about 6 hours to produce 1 hour of audio. That includes things like mastering and editing on the back end. It also includes proofreading on the back end, but it also includes like prepping the book, reading it in advance, doing any necessary research, coming up with character voices, checking in with the author or the publisher if you have to do that. So that's always a part of my job, that prepping and research part. But when you add the full production, then it does add a lot more time. But I mean, some books are easier than others.
Yeah.
You know? Fantasy with a lot of made up names and places, you have to make some decisions and you got to check in.
Yeah.
A contemporary romance that uses just like normal everyday situations and names, you don't really have to check in with the author about that.
Yeah, that tracks.
You know, it is what it is. You know, if there's no foreign accents or anything like that, it goes pretty quickly. And like over time, you get better at it.
Mm-hmm.
So I spend less time prepping and mastering and editing and all that stuff now than I did when I first got started, because I've streamlined a lot of my processes. I've gotten the proper training, which doesn't count towards like the per book hour breakdown,
right?
But it certainly does count towards like the overall investment in my craft that I've made.
Yeah.
Over almost 8 years.
Yeah.
So
cool.
But so yeah. Conventional wisdom, about 6 hours of work for 1 hour of audio. If you're doing the total production, I'd say it's probably closer to like 3 to 1 if I'm just doing the narration.
Gotcha. That's a little sneak peek behind the process. That's interesting.
Misty asks, Maz, honestly, between work, writing, podcast stuff, and gaming, do you ever sleep?
Yeah, actually, I love sleeping.
She sleeps a lot.
I sleep a lot. It's crazy.
She's such a good sleeper.
Yeah. Well, it's actually, Alex makes fun of me a ton because I go to bed at 9 and I could sleep until 9 or 10 the next morning. Like I could just sleep. But I have to get up and do shit. So I force myself out of bed. But yeah, no, I could sleep for fucking 10 plus hours easily. But I have to fit in all the writing and video games and work and shit.
You are the only adult I know who doesn't complain about sleeping.
Really?
Like being unable to sleep, like on a regular basis.
Oh.
Like every once in a while, you'll be like, oh, I really couldn't sleep last night. But most adults I know are like, oh, when did my body forget how to sleep for more than 6 hours? And you're not you.
Nope. No, I sleep great.
I'm like, do you want to go to dinner at 8? And you're like,
at night?
No.
Yeah. No, I'm in bed by 9. You're insane. Yeah. Misty also asks, Kirt, what is the hardest accent to maintain when narrating?
It's never an individual accent.
Really?
What is difficult is when you have fun combinations.
Okay.
Things that are maybe a little bit similar. And I don't know why this has happened to me as many times as it has, but like if you're trying to do like an American Southern accent and some version of a UK accent, British, Irish, Welsh.
Yeah.
If you have to do two of those characters talking to each other, it is a mind fuck.
Really?
Because they're not as far apart as you would think, but they are different.
Yeah.
Another one is like any sort of Middle Eastern accent versus like a Russian accent, like a Slavic accent. Because again, they're not as different as people would think.
Yeah.
When you break them down.
Yeah.
But there are key differences, and so you can kind of slip.
Yeah.
If you're not
that makes sense.
Paying attention.
That's deeply interesting. Is it kind of like the cadence of the speech or like how you have to hold your mouth? It's very similar?
It's all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like Russia and like the Middle East are very close together.
Yeah, makes sense.
Even though those languages look and sound very different to us now, they actually have a lot of the same influences.
Yeah.
As they were being created.
That's cool.
So, and like the American Southern accent is in some ways derived from like the Royal British accent that came down through that whole mess of a military, I mean, because what we think of as a British accent is really like something that was made up to make them sound a certain way, and like
crazy.
In a lot of ways, it was adopted in the American South, and
language is cool. Yeah, that's so interesting.
Cool and really fucking weird sometimes. And so,
sure.
I am very lucky to be able to lock into an accent pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And once I'm there, I don't lose it. It's when I have to start switching between them. And they're not so different that it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Hopefully I catch myself or a good proofer catches me.
Yeah. You're like, hey, you're kind of slipping into.
That could be weird.
Yeah. Cowboy. Yeah. That's crazy. Okay. The last one we have is from Anna Marie. She says, Kirt, if you could wave a magic wand and continue narrating any series you've worked on in the past, what would it be and why?
You know, the hard part about this question is I feel like the series I've done that have ended, they had a satisfying conclusion.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily want to push them forward.
Keep going.
You know? So I think my answer would either be, TJ Klune talked about doing an actual like a prequel series to like the Green Creek.
Yeah.
So if he ever did that, that would be amazing. So that might be my answer. But also, I love S.E. Harmon's Spectre Files series.
Nice.
And like that's like the romance has kind of happened. So like I don't know if it continues to be male romance, if like the couple's together and they've been together for a while.
Right.
I also would love to go back and narrate the first book because I didn't get to do the first book. I came in on the second one.
Oh yeah.
And I still just think that's a mindfuck for people. But like, I hope she keeps writing those ghost mysteries because I think they're fun.
Awesome.
And she's very funny and I enjoy reading them. So
yeah.
I'll say that.
Okay. Good choice.
So also from Anna Marie, Maz, would you ever consider a second story arc in the Relic series, or do you feel it's pretty buttoned up and there's not much more to pull from that setting?
It's tricky because I deeply miss writing Relic stuff, but it does have an ending. Like it ended, and there's like some short stories and stuff planned. So there are some like fun things. Yeah. But like as far as like a full novel with the Relic Boys specifically, probably not. But as far as like slice of life, canon, fun little short stories. Oh God, I have mountains. I can't wait to write those. But like the next like series of novels will probably be from Origin. So like Ruben and Zhang and all of those guys. But like, and the Relic guys will be sprinkled in because they're not going anywhere. But I don't know if I've got another full Relic novel that would make sense. But yeah,
But that world will continue.
Yeah, for sure. Because I can't let them go. I love them too much.
Awesome.
Anna Marie comes back with another question, Kirt. What software do you use for your audiobook recording and editing?
I use Adobe Audition.
For all of it?
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I mean, and I have some other like presets and extra packages that I add on to it, but it all happens inside of Adobe Audition.
Cool. I was honestly expecting you to say a couple things, so it's kind of nice. It's all rolled into one. I
record in Audition, I edit, I master.
Nice.
Like I said, with a few of those like extra bonus add-ons, but
I guess I'm just so used to technology having to do like you having to have like 14 different things to like make things work. So I'm like shocked that it's just one app. That's amazing.
Nope. I edit all the audio in Adobe Audition. I edit all our video in Adobe Premiere.
Sweet.
I am an Adobe Suite user.
Nice.
And I pay for it, so I
use it. Yeah, because I know that it's expensive.
Yeah. So Maz, final question.
Okay.
What's one thing you look for in an alpha or beta reader?
So I need different things for either one. So for beta readers, I need somebody who's got a great eye for inconsistencies and like teleporting characters, because that is my weakness. Is I will change people's eye colors or their backgrounds for like tiny non-specific things or
when last we saw this character, he was walking down the street in New York,
right,
and then in the next scene he's walking in a room in Kansas.
Exactly. Yeah, like
wait, what?
Exactly. I'm like, oh, this person's supposed to be out of town or like not here right now. I had
Or, hey, remember 2 books ago when that person died?
Yeah, that's a big one. Where I'm like, oh God, did I kill this person off? I sure did. Oops. So now I have to rewrite it. It's like just stuff like that. So I need betas who are dialed in, who are paying attention to it, and who are good with pacing, character development, and gentle criticism. So like if you find something terribly wrong or like the pacing is goofy, don't just browbeat me about it. You have to be like, hey, love this, but like it slowed down in the chunk and I got bored or something.
Yeah.
Like that's totally valid. So be nice and just have a sharp eye is what I need, because I'll get blinders and I just won't catch those goofy things if I read it again, because I wrote it, so my brain's primed to skip over it. But if they're really paying attention, they could make the world of difference.
Yeah.
And then for an alpha reader, totally different. I need somebody who is kind of with me through the entire process. So from the first chapter to the end, I can tap for questions, or if I want to rewrite a scene, or I decide to take a hard left turn in the middle of the plot. Like, is this a cool thing I'm doing, or am I, chasing a rabbit and we just need to get back on track?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very specific set of skills that...
I have a very specific set of skills.
Yes. And it is mostly just reeling me in or encouraging me if I'm going the right direction, or kind of allowing me to go crazy and either gently putting me back on the path or being like, okay, I like it. How can we make it work? Instead of just shutting it down. Like, I need positivity or I will collapse in on myself like a dorky star. Which is a good segue, because our alpha reader is actually who we ended up talking to this week. So
what?
I know.
How did that happen?
Serendipitous.
Wow. But yes, our guest interview today is with the other half of Maz's brain, one of her dearest friends and her alpha reader, Jessica Johnson. Jessica has been part of Maz's creative journey since the beginning and helps Maz hone her chaotic ideas into fun romances. When she's not aiding wild authors reel in their madness, she spends her days being a garden witch with her husband and darling Kitty Grimm. Here is our interview with Jeff. No, her real name's Jessica. I call her Jeff sometimes.
Welcome to the podcast, the other half of my brain and my bestest friend of all time, Jessica Johnson.
Hey, thank you for
I'm
having
so glad
me.
you were able to pop on and chat with us, even though we live a million miles away from each other now.
A million
miles.
It seems like it.
Yeah. If you thought we weren't going to be dramatic about that, you're wrong.
Okay. All right. A million miles
It's like
away.
a 2-day drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a long ways.
Or several hours on a plane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Still too long.
Million.
Okay, the distance will be crossed here in a couple months.
Yes, true.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I also know you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that.
Yes.
We have met.
Yes.
So.
It's actually a good way to start it. So we've been friends for a long ass time, but back years ago in 2016, 17, I think ish.
A million
years ago.
It depends on which benchmark you're going to mention here.
Well, when we started top to bottom, I can't remember what year that was. That was 2016, yeah? Ish? 17?
Yes, 2016, 2017, something like that.
Yeah, because I think it was right around the time. Yeah, that's about right. I want to say it was right around the time that I went to SVP and GRL and stuff ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
it was the first time you went to GRL.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, it was
that
was a big one. That's I came back and was like, we have to do this thing. But yeah, when
How did that go again?
We have to do this thing.
No.
Yeah. So we'd worked together for years before that, a million years. And then I remember after we worked together for 4 or 5 years, and then
And when you say work, do you mean a day job?
Yeah, we worked a day job together. This is way before I started writing or doing anything like that. Me and Jess used to work together in a retail situation. So quickly bonded because that job sucked and it was hard. So we ended up you went, I think, to corporate, and then that's when I was working at 911. And I got super into, you got me initially into reading like crazy because it was one of those things that we worked together all the time. I didn't read a lot, but you started being like, hey, you need to read this. You need to read this. So I got super hooked on anything that you gave me. I was like, hell yeah. And I think you're the one that got me into romance. And I don't remember, I think it was Gail Carriger when we were reading The Parasol Protectorate that
yes,
that launched me into being love stories are the best. Right. So, and I started reading romance when I was working at 911, and I went to GRL, freaked out, and then we started a podcast called Top to Bottom, bottom being BOTM for Book of the Month. And the whole shtick was me and you would read a gay book and then geek out about it on a podcast. Like that was the entire premise. And that's what we did for like a couple years.
I liked the name of that podcast.
Yeah, it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
It made I like puns.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Well, and we had started with just top to bottom spelled normally, but we were talking about what we were going to do, and I started abbreviating Book of the Month.
Mm-hmm.
And it just worked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's how a lot of that kind of stuff goes, where you just like things just click as you go through it. Like as you're putting it together, you're like, oh shit, we're accidentally very creative about this. But yeah, that's how we got to meet Kirt, is because you reached out to us to want to do an interview, and we of course were freaked out and like so excited that you were like, hey, I want to be on your show. And I was like, this narrator guy like knows who we are. What the hell? It was so cool.
How did I know who you? Oh, well, because wasn't your first guest Gail?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you were reading the Sumage Solution as a Book of the Month.
Yeah.
And so I think when you announced that, I was like, oh, hi.
Yeah.
I also read that book.
Yeah. Into a microphone.
I could talk to you about it if you wanted.
Yeah. That was, man, that's crazy. So yeah, this is how we
I know,
all.
and here we are.
And here we are.
Now you're the one who's remote.
Yeah.
I stole her.
God damn it. Oh, can I swear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, please.
Yeah.
Fuck yes.
I don't think we would have been able to do this podcast if we couldn't swear, if I'm being honest. It would just
Why
be a lot.
Why would we want to?
Yeah. I mean, it would be too much for me, I think.
Yeah, I'm sure I've heard you do it, but it doesn't register for me when I hear bad words. Like it just sounds like normal talking, so it blended in.
Yeah.
So then you two also, well, how would you describe your writing relationship? Because I was about to say you started writing together.
Yeah. I think that's accurate. I mean, I don't think Jess is going to agree with me because we've said that, like, I always say our books and she's like, you write them. I'm like, you're the other half of the brain. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think the best way to describe it is I word vomit at her for a long time and she helps me mold it into something that makes sense or reels me in when I go way too far. Like I was texting you yesterday about an idea I had for a book and was like, what if I do this? And you're like, hey, calm down. Like, you said, what did you say? Careful, there's dragons there or something, being like,
yeah, that way be dragons, yes.
Yeah. So that is a normal part of the writing process for us now, is that I'm just like, okay, here's the idea. I want to do like all this crazy shit. And then she's usually like, okay, let's build on this. Or she's like, no, I think that's one of the biggest things I appreciate about our dynamic, is that you're real quick to be like, that's insane, but let's see how we could fix it. Or like, I think you went too far with it. Let's walk it back. Because I think otherwise my books would be fucking bananas.
Would be.
More bananas.
The bananas are the
Your
good
centaur,
part.
western, dinosaur shifter, necromancer, private detective. They might go a little off the rails.
Yeah.
It's not really on
yeah,
brand.
so if that's the end result, you can see how hard Jess works.
Why don't you take us back to the beginning of that process? Like, so what was the first time you're writing a book, you're bouncing ideas, like what was that like?
Oof.
I'm going to pull it back further than I think you would, Maz. Do you remember when we took the road trip to Houston to go meet Patrick Rothfuss for the signing? And when we were in the hotel, we were writing that fantasy story together.
Yeah.
Drogar or some shit, I don't remember. But it was like very like World of Warcraft influenced.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That does not shock me. We were really into that for a couple of years.
Oh my God, a video game? Let's talk about it for 45 minutes.
Well, we could.
Yeah.
Tell me the whole plot.
Yeah. Oh God. I don't remember it now, but
we'd have to do a whole series of podcasts to cover Warcraft lore, but I'm very rusty on it. I'm out of that world, so okay. But
oh no.
So disappointed.
So sad.
So we started, it wasn't like fanfic level, but it was, we took a lot of inspiration from it and we were both writing bits of it and building plot and world building. World building's the thing that I'm obsessed with and why I can't ever actually write my own book because I get stuck in the world building. And we did a lot of writing together, writing our own stuff, like sharing it with each other. We even tried to start a series where we're going to each write every other book. She finished her first one. I got like 2 chapters in, and that will never see the light of day, any of that. And then, while you were working at 911, you finished that first never to be named novel.
Yeah.
And
never to be named even.
Yeah, I never even named it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such garbage.
What was it about?
It was...
Since it's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah, since it's never going to see the light of day, and I was working for a police department, it was about cops that fell in love, and they were like...
Monster cops?
No, just regular dudes.
Dragon cops?
No, they weren't even shifters. This is before I even was like really wanting to do like paranormal stuff. I just did a contemporary romance about these 2 rookie cops who like went through... I don't even think they made it to being cops in the book. I think they were just trainees. They were like
one of them
20s.
was a 911 dispatcher.
Was he really?
I
can't remember that.
So they
Joey?
were wizards? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. It's weird to think.
Yes, they were wizards.
yeah. Secret lore. One of them turned into a gargoyle or something.
But that was book 2.
Yeah, exactly. Or
actually, the super secret is this is the future of the Stallion Ridge universe.
Hey, there you go.
It's just that the shifters are dormant, and that was going to come up later.
Hey, see?
Totally,
there you go. That's a twist.
There you go.
We could work on that one later.
Yeah, there you go.
It's so funny because how many times have I told you should write a book about that?
I know. Well,
like a bunch of first responders with like the call center being like the center of action, and that's how all these dudes meet each other.
Yeah. Well, and
you
I remember,
did that.
Yeah, well, I forgot completely that one of them was a call taker. But I think the idea you pitched me was really cool because I think you had like a mystery, like somebody like the murderer was calling 911 or something. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. But nobody do that because I might do it.
Right,
so,
we might do it. But I mean, just like the anthology, like because everything's an anthology and it's different couples. But like, what a natural place for a whole bunch of first responders to somehow know each other is all through that.
Yeah.
Through that call center.
Yeah.
Like, there's just,
that would be fun.
Again, TM.
Yeah. It's all like nobody move on it yet. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But I don't know if I'd want to do something with like cops with everything going on. I'd have to stick with it being like.
We can not do cops.
Yeah.
They can be left out.
Yeah, it's unspoken that they're around, but I just don't want to navigate that. So, but yeah, I don't know. I might one day revisit that again.
Right.
But
there's just so many other.
Maybe pivot to firefighters.
There you go.
Firefighters.
Yeah.
Paramedics.
Yeah. That would be fun. But I think I'd have to make them shifters or something, which inherently would be way more interesting. So, yeah, we'll see. But I'm sorry, we like totally sidetracked.
You're going to encroach on Charlie Cochet at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So that had happened, and then Stallion Ridge came next.
Yeah, so I forgot what the hell we were talking about. So I used to work a weird shift that would start at like 6 at night and I'd get off at 4 in the morning. So for a couple hours before Jess finally had to be like, I'm going to sleep.
Yeah.
I would be texting her about ideas. And I forgot, it started off as a joke because we were talking about the book that will never be named. Like if we put it in a shifter universe, because I think that's about when I was really into Charlie Cochet and was like reading shifters constantly. And like, I was like, oh, I'd love to do like a Western. And we were trying to figure out how werewolves would work. And then one of us was like, well, wouldn't he like turn into a horse? Wouldn't that be more appropriate? And then somehow that became centaurs. And we were like, oh, that's so funny. And then I was like, oh shit, I have an idea. like, oh my God. And then like Cal came into my head and I was like, I think I can actually write a story about this. And thinking it was just so fucking silly. And I was like, nobody's going to want to read this. This is stupid. But then like we took it so serious. Like we wrote the whole thing and like considering that neither one of us had crafted like a book to actually be published from start to finish, I felt like it took us a long time to like get that book making any sense, but it did eventually.
Yeah, but what a gift to have somebody else on your side through that process.
Man, I honestly don't think I would have gotten very far if I didn't have Jess to like help plot everything through and like see what it like, because I think we knew each other so well. We have the same sense of humor, and we've just, at this point just are traveling on the same brain wavelength all the time, that I could have this rough blob of an idea and then she can see the potential of it and help me craft it instead of just being like, that's weird or nuts, or like, kind of dismiss it. It's still part of my process now, to where I'll have this like weird blob of an idea and she'll be like, well, what if you just do this? And it'll just spark a whole nother branch, you know? So yeah, I can't imagine, like, if something happened and you had to quit and not do this anymore, I would be in deep shit. Like, I don't know how I can do it anymore at this point. It's been like 6 years.
Yeah.
So
Jess, what's your version of that story? Like, do you remember when Maz came to you and was like, I've got it. Centaurs.
So you have to understand something about our friendship, is that it is always, I have this idea. One of us doing that, and then the other one being like, yeah, okay, let's do that. So it was the same thing with starting that podcast was, we wanted more people to talk about our gay books with. And so I said, well, damn, maybe we should start a podcast. And then like the next day, Maz shows up with, here's the programs we need, here's this, here's that. Let's maybe do it on Saturday. And it happened. So everything we've ever done.
It's happening Saturday?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah. Everything we've done together has been just some kind of harebrained scheme. One of us is always Lucy. One of us is always Ethel. So it all kind of runs together. I mean, all of our great, crazy, wacky ideas, I don't know, they just grow somehow.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. One of us is like, we should do this. And the other one's like, I'm taking this as seriously as a heart attack. And then we just do it. Like,
yeah,
you're enablers.
Yeah, big time.
If one of you is like, I think I need to murder my husband.
I mean,
neither one of you flinched. You didn't bat an eye.
No, I was
you were both like,
yeah.
Go on.
How is he already dead? Like, just like, at what point are you in the planning process?
Like, I'm already at the hardware store buying tarps.
Yeah. I'm like, we need to start coming up with code words now. Like,
yeah. Oh my God. You were both like, yes, I could see this scenario happening and I would help.
That's part of the plan, is that we have to work on our, oh no, he's dead. I am so surprised. I will miss him. But yeah, no, that's pretty accurate, because we've belly danced and gotten paid for it. Professionally.
Yes. Oh.
Yeah, we got paid for being belly dancers. We ran a podcast.
Danced in front of thousands of people.
Yes. And you handled that better than me, by the way. Like, I will never, there's video evidence of us at our very first belly dance thing that we were doing. And I was fine all day. She was a wreck. When it was time to go, Jess fucking nailed it. And I freaked out, like, on stage. So
I don't want to embarrass you, but I would just like, for anybody who's actually watching, your hands were like this.
Like, we're supposed to be beautiful, like dancing hands. And I was doing this because my hands were shaking so bad. It was so fucking funny. But yeah, so yeah, we build on that. We've done so much just crazy shit. And I think the author part of this has been our most successful longest thing that we've done, is just consistently stuck to it instead of doing it for a couple of years and being like, let's go do a planetary society thing or something. So
I just think that storytelling's always been really important to both of us. I know Maz had a lot of writing and stuff growing up. I did too. It was just something that was easy for us to mesh on.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. What would you say, Jess, was like your favorite part of doing the podcast?
Getting to talk to authors that I love and voice actors that I now love. And that just being able to get. So Gail Carriger's been my favorite author next to Maz for a really long time. And so getting like our first interview being that person was just, I don't know, crazy. I don't even have the words for it. And then, there were several that we got to interview that just blew my mind, but, my favorite author of all time. And then, and TJ Klune, getting to talk to these people that are just nebulous to me, that was really, really cool.
Yeah, who had the balls to reach out to Gail Carriger for your first episode?
I don't remember who it was.
That would be your partner. Yeah.
Oh, was it me? That makes sense.
It was you.
Because I think I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to roll the dice. The worst thing she can say is no.
Right.
Yep.
So, and she was like, yeah, I'd be happy to. And I was like, I didn't think you'd say yes. So now I'm freaking out.
All right.
So
I guess now we got to figure out how to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And I was like, shit. Same with TJ. Like at this point, like the fact that we got TJ on the show blows my mind because he's just, to me at this point, just totally unreachable. But like,
well, now he is.
Yeah, now he is.
Yeah.
100%.
Now you have to go through a person.
Yeah. But at the time, I like messaged him directly on Facebook or something stupid. And was like, you want to be on my dumb little podcast? He's like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane. So just right time, right place, I think, for that. But yeah, we somehow scored some people who, honestly, we didn't have any business trying to get on the show, but it worked. So it was fun.
Yeah.
We had all the business getting them on the show. We are very clearly badass.
I mean, true.
Hey, I was a fan. I listened to every episode.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's fun. Every once in a great while, I'll be at like a convention or GRL or something, and then you'll get that one person that's like, oh, I used to listen to top to bottom. And I was like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
It just delights the hell out of me.
Well, because you were talking to cool people.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And you were fangirling yourselves, which is, you know, if somebody gets to talk to an author that you admire, you would like them to be enthusiastic about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's just like that fun, like person next door talking to an author I admire quality about it. That's fun. You know? Unlike us, because we're professionals. So like we keep
so
it
professional,
very like cool and calm and like, yeah, very NPR. Do you hate me now because I am doing this with her instead of you?
No, but I will say that it was hard to listen to the first few episodes.
Aww.
I was sad and jealous.
You texting me and you were like, I am so aware that you're not in Texas anymore. And I was like, like it just killed me. So yeah, it's tough. Millions of miles away, as we discussed this.
Millions.
So we started with Stallion Ridge.
Yeah.
Then she comes to you and she says, I've got it. Dinosaur shifters.
That has been a back project. She's wanted to do that forever. Don't let her tell you otherwise.
Oh, I bet. I bet. How did you guys and who played what part? How did you navigate your way to the explanation of how these people would have the ability to shift into dinosaurs?
No, that's all on Mrs. No, that was all you, because you used your great paleontology knowledge to make something up.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember I got the idea for Dalton when we were moving. Like it was when we were doing our big 2020 move to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So, man, life was weird and like everything was changing and like I was in a weird headspace. So I think I gravitated back to dinosaurs because it's like my comfort thing. So it's like the thing that I don't want to say the most passionate about, but maybe know the most weird things about. Like, because I don't want to tout myself as an expert by any stretch. Like, I went to school for it for a little while, and I was able to be in like serious paleontology places and spaces and stuff. But I never want to say that I'm at all on like a professional level because there's still so much stuff I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce most of the dinosaur names because I don't like exist in those spaces. But I love it. I love science. I love evolution. I love old world, old earth things. So I think because I was really stressed and was moving away and everything, I got really into I Know Dino podcast and like just reading like cool dinosaur stuff. So I knew I wanted to do something with dinosaurs, but I didn't know how I was going to make it work because I didn't want it to be like a science experiment gone wrong. Because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Because like if you, I think one of the explanations I heard in one of the shifter books was like they were messing with their DNA and they were able to unlock like down the evolutionary chain, like kind of where it branched. And they're like, they just took a different evolution pattern. So they were able to walk it back on the mammalian tree of life. And I was like, well, that wouldn't work because you have to go back so far in history to be able to find a common ancestor with dinosaurs and humans that it'd just be like a jellyfish. Like, what the fuck? So I was like, okay, if I have to make this work at all, it's going to have to be like a very primitive, like they had to have turned into a mammal at some point to get their way to humans. So I was like, all right, if they just turned into like the tiny little critters that humans or like that mammals came from in the time of dinosaurs, they'd had to have gone to sleep and hibernated through the huge impact. So I was like, all right, well, then that's what they did. They just were asleep.
Okay.
And then they woke up because that's how the book has to happen. So, but yeah, I had to jump through so many damn mental hoops to make that make sense in my brain. Because I was like, I don't know why the hell they're dinosaurs. They just are, but I can't just say they're dinosaurs. Right. That's stupid. So, yeah, it was.
I mean, you could.
But it wouldn't make sense to me. Like, I had to give them at least some type of weird sci-fi book reason.
Well,
so
that also lent itself to being able to have reasons to going to the digs. And things like that. So, it makes sense.
Yeah, it worked out, but it was tough for a while because I was like, I think people are going to think this is dumb. You know what I mean? Or like too scientific, or like I couldn't take as much time as I wanted to talk about how amazing it was that mammals even have made it through the huge impact, because holy shit, like I just think that's so interesting. So I had to be like, okay, touch on it for a little bit for you for me as a treat, but then for the rest of the audience, just make it fun dinosaurs and gay boys kissing.
Got it.
So
yeah, but now you have the distinction of making several people Google Triceratops buttholes.
Yes.
Several.
Yeah. That is, I've gotten emails from people being like, I didn't know about fossilized cloacas, but now I know all about them thanks to you. And I was like, you're welcome. Doing the Lord's work.
What a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Jess, do you remember any ideas that Maz was pitching for a book that you really felt like, okay, I have to push back on this?
No, we distill down to usable topics.
Really?
Yeah, I appreciate that so much that she lets me be weird. She's like, okay.
So there's never been a no.
No, I think there's been like, be careful with that, or like, I think this would break this. Like if I try to make somebody a little too magical or have crazy abilities or something. Or you're also really good at catching just like weird inconsistencies about stuff. You're like, okay, but if he's part this, like, it wouldn't be a thing.
Yeah, it's less about, striking down an idea and more about making the idea work. Like, it doesn't have to be taken out. Let's just twist it and change some things, and then magic happens. So.
Yeah. See, this is why I think you could be like a professional content editor, like world building coach, because you never say no. You're like, okay, let's make it work. Let's craft this to your vision without it being too crazy or breaking the world or having to change everything.
Yeah. I do think, though, you should put a blooper section in the back of your books with some of the typos I fixed.
Yeah. Yes. So there's a really good one that is very embarrassing, but it's really funny, that like lives in the zeitgeist of Maz and Jess.
I was gonna say the zeitgeist,
dude. And so the
we
deep
have a lore.
The deep lore.
Okay. Are we going to talk about it?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah. Even though it is very embarrassing. Okay, so I'm dyslexic as fuck.
What are we here to do if not?
Yeah, I know. Other than just to be like, here you go. I'm shit at spelling, and sometimes I will autocorrect words in my brain when I'm typing them, and they're very hilariously not the right word at all. And I think I was going for ethereal.
You just did it
ethereal.
Again.
Yeah.
Ethereal.
And I said urethral or something. Yeah. And it was the funniest fucking thing ever. So
I still laugh about it.
Yeah. The note.
That's good.
She highlighted it, and it was just like, when you get a moment, please look up what this word means or something. Like, she's just, and I looked it up and was like, I'm fucking dead. Like, I can't believe it. It murdered me. So I don't know if that one's been topped, but that one was pretty bad. or the ones where you highlight and you just go, what? Because you just have no idea what the hell I was going for. And usually I don't either.
Right.
So
I am constantly amazed how many authors I talk to who are like, oh, no, I'm bad at writing.
Oh, yeah, we are.
It's not the writing part I'm good at.
Mm-hmm.
It's the storytelling part that I'm good at. And it's
Yeah.
like, yes, that is in fact the job.
Yeah.
And then other people come and help with the other parts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's apt. I am bad at writing. So bad.
It is a common theme.
Yeah.
With authors. At least the ones I talk to.
Yeah.
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 So
I think we should start doing that. Like, I know we just finished up doing wild contracts too, but we should start keeping tabs of those. And like, maybe we can share it on Patreon to be like, hey, if you're feeling bad about your day.
There you go.
That's
That's
somebody who's been published for a couple years doing weird shit with words that don't make sense.
Yeah.
I would say, or let me ask this. Do you think over the past couple years, I've gotten to be a lot more of a plotter than a pantser? Because when I started, I was 100% a pantser, like die by that. I refused to plot. And now it's not like that anymore. I've kind of evolved.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many times I had to say, I know you hate this, but make an outline, just bullet point, just something, just some framework. And you fought me forever. So I'm super proud of your whiteboard and everything. You're just, I'm definitely, I've always been a plotter. I meticulously plan layout, which is again why I don't ever finish anything, because I spend so much time preparing and then I'm just exhausted by the time I get there. But yeah, no, you've stricken a really great balance with that. And I think it's really been helping you with your own development. You get stuck fewer times. It might just be because Dallas is so easy to write, maybe. I don't know, but it's no, I feel like it's been really helping your process, and it's you haven't been quite as down as you were several of those times in the end phases of Stallion Ridge before we got to Relic.
Yeah, I think that's something I want to try to champion more for like newbie authors who really find their creativity in just being like off the cuff and just like kind of like let your muse take the wheel. I'm like, no, I get it. Like I do my best writing when it's just stream of consciousness kind of stuff. But oh boy, does it make my life way easier if I just take the time to just do some fucking bullets and be like, I know this has to happen. At least I have a goalpost. But before it was just wild. And Jess's job was to try to mentally remember all the weird shit that I would just text at her at 3 o'clock in the morning and be like, okay, we'll make it work.
All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Series Bible in my head.
Yep.
Do you ever envision a time when you might write something together, like a true co-authorship?
I mean, I'd be down.
I mean, I would always be down. I will work with Maz on any project ever for anything. And I've been trying. I've been doing a little bit of, practice writing as far as just writing to write. And maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
Not going to say no.
Well, yeah, never.
Yeah.
We're all too young to say never at this point.
Yeah.
Well, y'all might be.
Listen, I'm not too young for many things, but there's still lots of time to have first experiences.
Yeah, fair.
Agreed.
So, especially when you have so much experience coming at it from another angle, like narration, or like alpha reading, helping shape stories, and then it's just writing, right?
Yeah.
Just the hard part.
Yeah, and we've already established you don't have to even be good at writing. You can just be terrible and get somebody to help you with it later.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm so fixated on the idea of making it horror, and that's not really Maz's style.
See, but it would be such a nice little mesh if we could do like a queer horror romance. Bam.
Yeah, but I couldn't make it too gory or Kirt wouldn't narrate it for me.
You know what? I've actually, I haven't done a ton, but I think in the context of narrating horror, it's actually a lot more fun because you are in the driver's seat.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're not sitting there being like wondering what's about to happen, which I don't like that feeling. I don't like the feeling of like something's about to jump out at me on screen or something like that. But if you're the one doing the performance, you have all the control. You set the pacing, you set the tone, you know what's going to happen. So I would narrate horror.
Good to
know. But you
haven't
yet. You were starting to talk like I thought maybe you had, and I was going to.
Well, I did. I did a middle grade horror.
Okay.
So I've touched that, and I've done some like darker monster romances.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that I would, and I've certainly done some like darker like police procedurals or like detective stuff, like where like that foreboding feeling is there.
Mm-hmm.
I've listened to at least one of yours with that.
Yeah, but it's, I do think that it's different than like true horror.
Yeah.
Because the only one I know of who I feel like has truly written like gay horror romance is Rory Michelson.
Oh, okay.
But Rory is British, and his books are narrated by a British narrator, so I was not even was not in the running for that.
I know Poppy Z. Bright does some horror romance that's queer. Morgan Bryce has some slightly spooky things. Oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. Was that
Didn't
one
you
lady?
Do Bill Maxwell or something? Did you?
Yes,
them?
Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. That was the name I was forgetting. Some spooky ghost hunting stuff.
Nice. Okay, good to know.
So do it. Yeah, go write my gay horror story, and we'll release it.
Yeah, there you go. All right, that's our tentative homework then, Jess.
Why can't I ever have a conversation
through which we can release these things?
Yes,
let's use it.
Why can't I ever have a conversation with you, Maz, where I don't end with a new project of something I want to do?
Yeah. You know what? Fair.
Yeah, that's our friendship. We've talked about this on this show.
Yes.
Do I need another project this year? No, but I'll start brainstorming on the way home. Just being like, all right, well, what are we talking about? Horror, like slasher horror? Are we going to talk more like monsters? Are we going to do like a Final Boy situation? I'd read the shit out of that. Ah, that's her thinking face.
I'll get back to you on that, but
okay,
you got something there.
Yeah, see, it begins.
All right, we all heard it here first on the Hoof and Fang podcast.
Yep,
we'll see in a year or two.
Yeah, if it manifests.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Fun.
Thank you for joining us, Jess. I'm so happy that we got to do this and that we were able to bring you into our podcast after we've like made the full circle.
Yep.
So
yeah,
this has been
thank you
lovely.
for having me.
Yeah.
If you ever, have like a void and need somebody obnoxious to talk about not writing, just let me know.
You're on call as my replacement if I can't ever show up.
There you go.
Hey, I'm down.
Thanks again to Jeff for taking the time to chat with us and being such a delight.
Always. That was fun.
So I got a little more of a peek inside your head. Scary.
Yeah. It's just noise and dinosaurs and cats.
Yeah. Well, she fits right in.
Yeah.
So
this is how we've been best friends for this long.
So you can find all of our social media inside of the show notes for this episode. You can also visit us at hoofandfangpodcast.com, which is where we have all of our socials and all of our links to online stores and things like Patreon.
Yay!
Where you can support us and get audiobooks. And, when we have fun polls that we talk about on the podcast, that all happens inside Patreon. So we'd love to have you there. You can also sign up just as a free member so that you're notified of things that are going on with us. And sometimes we include those people on polls and stuff as well.
Indeed.
So you never know. Sign up for free or $5 or $10. Those are your only options.
Yes. Keeping it simple over here.
If you want to give us more money, send me an email.
Yeah. There you go.
Yep. So thank you for joining us. We will be back next week, and we will be joined by author S. O'Callahan.
Excellent.